Welcome to Rowrah in Cumbria for round 3 of the Ginetta Super 1 Rotex Max National Karting Championships. The Rotex series is the most competitive and for many the most difficult national karting championships to win, so expect lots of close race action and plenty of excitement. You may think that karting, which is the base level in motorsport for drivers as young as 8 years of age, has basic and simple rules. But in a sport where Formula One careers are founded, gaining an advantage using any means has led to the need of a constant updating of the rules, with the Super One organisers spending a significant amount on ensuring everyone races on a level playing field. John, a massive investment made by you a few years back was the Unilogger system, costing in the region of £50,000. Now, for a lot of people watching at home, for UK karting and especially junior karting, this is a huge investment. Why do you think it was necessary?
Yeah, the Unilogger system is a system for checking the clutches and the clutch slip and also the revs of the engine. People were getting a massive advantage through clutch slip in the engine, applying lubricants to the clutch to give them more speed out of the lower corners. So the investment, as I say, big investment, but only way forward. Now we've got drivers split over a tenth of a second, 20 drivers, where this clutch slip was given an advantage of over half a second.
And speaking of clutch slip, last year there was a complete no-tolerance policy whereby if it was detected you were excluded from the entire meeting. But that draconian measure has been reduced this year, so now you're just excluded from the race or final where the clutch slip was detected. Why have you made that reduction?
Because we think it's a lot fairer to do that. The clutch here, you can see, is an engineered part. The clutch could fail through a manufacturer fault, and then the person will be thrown out of the meeting. That's not fair on them. It's not a direct cheat. But also, if people are doing that, we still can throw them out of the meeting.
Now, another problem area that has required your attention is tyres and chemicals on tyres. This has required circuits to invest in infrastructure. There are now barcodes on tyres, but what was the problem and how has this combated it?
The problem was the competitors, the tyres were issued out into the pits and then they were treating the tyres with chemicals which gave the tyre more grip on the track, was faster around the corners and gave them faster times, gave them an advantage. The circuits have invested in buildings where we part firmade the tyres, they're collected from there, drawn, and they don't leave into the paddock. They just stay in the one area so we can keep full control on them.
Finally, what are your thoughts on the next season? I know you're keen on the pooled and drawn engines, but this would be a massive logistic exercise for the Rotex series. Is it something you can see happening?
Yes, hopefully next year we're looking into it. It would be a lot of work, but I'm sure we can cope with it. The barcoding system, we've actually invested in that already, so everything will be barcoded from the competitors' pass, their engines, the tyres, so yet again we can keep good control on it.
The grassroots of motorsport it may be, but that description doesn't do justice to the efforts made by the Super One organisers to ensure each driver can compete and win on a level playing field. Let's take a look at the highlights from the first race at this meeting. It's the senior Rotex 177 class. Here's race commentator Alan Tadei.
Underway and running for the first race of the day then. Through turn one, we've got contact between Danny Andrew, 27. He collides with Tom Holland, who started on P2. Disaster for Holland, particularly. But we'll have a look at the replay as we see Lucas Orrock, who started on pole, championship leader, leading this one in the early stages. On board in this one with Tom Pitlick, the 7 kart, looking back at Dave Rendell on 57. They head down towards the stewardesses for the first time. Dave Griffiths looks up the inside of the 15 kart of Anthony Dickinson. Bit of contact between them. 4-card of Colin Davis it was that came off worse. We've got Dickinson in second currently, but I don't think that's going to be for long. I hear there's a black flag coming out for Anthony Dickinson, starting on P5, and you can see 27 Danny Andrew running into the side of Tom Holland, but the officials clearly think there was some loading going on. That's carts pushing from behind, pushing other carts in front of them, and there is the black flag confirmation for 15. Anthony Dickinson, you see he's got the black flag already, slowing down, letting all the carts past. Officials clearly feel that he was responsible for that incident in turn 1 by loading Danny Andrew into Tom Holland. And well, Andrew and Holland, their day pretty much over. Earlier heat results and final 1 result on your screen now, pretty much been a clean sweep for Lucas Orrock. And it looks like continuing in this one. 16 cart in the background there, Scott Clee had a podium at round 1. Lucas Orrock is well clear in these early stages. Here he is through the chicane very early in the race, and look at the lead he's got. This is incredible. Lucas looked like the champion-elect after the very early stages of last year's championship, and then he lost his way a little bit in the middle of the series and had it all to do at the last round. He got it done though and became British champion in the process. So 2-car of Griffiths in second place. Carl Churchill is third, but Pitlick demotes him back 1. Side by side, Churchill with Colin Davis. Davis comes through. Churchill loses a couple through the stewardesses. Dave Rendell loses one through the right-hander at St John's to the 36-car of James Darch. So is Griffiths, 7 Pitlick, then Davis, Churchill, James Darch at 36, Rendell was 57, and came Justin Satterley, Daniel Mulvaney and Scott Clee. They are the top 9 carts, and they've got a gap over the rest. 4 cart going down to McRae's is Colin Davis. Top 15 numbers, if you're new to karting or motorsport in general, top 15 numbers at the end of the season for the following season are reserved for the drivers in the top 15 places in the British or National Championships. So any drivers running the numbers 1 to 15, that's where they finished in last year's Super 1 Series. Griffiths it is on the 2 cart that's in second place. He's well behind the leader though. Orrock, he would have been hoping to put some pain on Lucas Orrock this weekend and try and cut his championship lead down just a little, but that doesn't look like happening anytime soon. Just see Orrock in the distance there, was miles clear. 58 cart going through at the back of the field, Paul Joslin. 7 cart of Tom Pitlick having one of his best runs that we've seen in Super 1, finished 7th in the championship last year. It's looking like a definite podium contender here. He's in 3rd place currently. Might fancy something better than that. Dave Griffiths must be wondering where Lucas Orrock gets all his pace from. Lucas, very powerful lad, hence the reason he's racing in this 177 class. He did the British Open Championship last week in the senior Rotax class and qualified 6 kilos overweight in 5th place on the grid. That's the sort of quality that you're talking about in terms of Lucas Orrock. Certainly got the build for a touring car. Like a very good touring car driver, I think, Lucas Orrock. Certainly not going to be fitting into a single-seater anytime soon. I don't think he'd fit in the cockpit, quite honestly. Far too wide at the shoulders. On board again with Pitlick, looking back at Colin Davis, 4th in last year's championship and 4th in this race currently. Pitlick getting closer to Dave Griffiths, looks down the inside at stewardesses and goes through and drops Dave Griffiths down 1. So Dave's day just gets a whole lot worse. Can't stay with his main championship contender, Lucas Orrock, and now he's dropping down the field in 3rd place. Back on board with Pitlick has come through the final turn, dummy grid bend, paddock bend, out across the start-finish line one more time. Come up into the chicane and down to McRae's, the first hairpin. Davis may fancy a bit of Dave Griffiths up in this hairpin here. Will you have a look up the inside at the hairpin? Not quite. But Colin Davis certainly looking forward to a podium here, because Dave Griffiths has got some problems. Clearly not happy. Davis has a look down the inside of Griffiths going into the stewardesses, but thinks better of it. They come over this little rise into the right-hander here at St John's. Left-hander is Sunny Bend. 1,030 metres this circuit here at Rowrah. Plenty of overtaking opportunities all the way round. It is one of the drivers favourite circuits for that reason. Into the last lap then, it's Rowrah well clear as he comes through the stewardesses for the last time. And the stewardesses down towards St John's over the little hump here. Downhill into St John's, he's put in the fastest lap, not surprisingly, 46.61. Out of Sunny Bend, down to the dummy grid bend, paddock bend for the last time. Lucas Rowrah is a very comfortable winner. It looks like Pitlick will be second. It looks like Colin Davis has come through for third place. He has. There is Pitlick in second, Davis is third, and Griffiths dropped to fourth.
Colin, pretty consistent race. You managed to take David right at the end though.
Yeah, no, his kart was good all the way through. Probably if we'd had a bit better break at the start, maybe could have been second, but yeah, it was good race all the way through for us.
Tom, great race, but could you ever have caught Lucas?
Well, I was really pleased with it. The start was fantastic. After starting low as well, I couldn't catch him. He was a bit too quick today, so I'll have to get him next time, eh?
Lucas, I know you're pretty used to winning, but no one had a chance of catching you.
No, I had to keep consistent was the main thing. I knew once I got a bit of a gap at the start that it would be, fairly easy for me to maintain that gap. I didn't want to push too hard because you hit some of the curbs around here pretty hard and you're likely to throw a chain or have some kind of mechanical issue. So I was being a bit careful at the same time. But yeah, fairly easy. I just had to keep on top of it because these guys, they'll get you if you don't keep on top of it.
Well, I don't think they will get you actually unless you slow down a bit. Lucas Rowrah takes the win from Tom Pitlick, Colin Davis. Tom Pitlick's best result in Super 1 in the last couple of seasons, and as you'll see from the championship points, it's Rowrah that has a comfortable championship lead. Out of a potential 300 points, Lucas Rowrah has 298.
Join us after the break when we'll be back with more racing from the Lakeside Stadium here in Cumbria and the Minimax class with drivers from 11 years of age.